Hello, Melanin Monarchy citizens. This is Monique, your queen, here again with another concert review. And today we're going to be reviewing Ne-Yo and his Champagne and Roses tour. Again, I want to remind all you guys that this channel, this YouTube channel and Instagram is all about commentating and reviewing live music, film, creatives, all with a strong emphasis on Depeche Mode. So let's go ahead and let's get into this concert review. Now, Ne-Yo came to San Diego. He's been doing his Champagne and Roses tour. And let's look at the lineup. The lineup is Pleasure P, Mario, and of course, Mr. Ne-Yo. Now, the lineup at some point in time did include Robin Thicke. Robin Thicke wasn't a part of this one, sadly to my heart, because I would have loved to have seen him. But we did have Pleasure P and we did have Mario as the opening act. Now, Pleasure P, some of you guys, especially his fans, know him for, I believe, one of his popular songs is called Boyfriend 2, or Boyfriend 2. And then Mario, my daughter's favorite song by Mario, which she plays all the time, is Let Me Love You, which is, I enjoy that song. I also enjoy that song too. But these guys, these gentlemen, they came to San Diego and they came to rock and they came to give a show. Pleasure P, I'm not that familiar with his song, but looking at his stage presence, he worked hard. He definitely came out. He came out in this very, very cute red outfit. It was red, almost like a red raincoat looking jacket. I loved it. I loved it. Whoever his designer is and who picked that out for him, I thought it was magnificent. I laughed because I thought, wow, that's really kind of flamboyant. But he wore it well. He wore it like a man. He wore it like a gentleman. And I enjoyed his outfit and what he gave to the fans. And there were fans. There were Pleasure P fans there. And so I'm pretty sure that San Diego made him feel welcome. Now let's get to Mr. Mario. Mario came out with this outfit. It was a black shimmering outfit. And I tell you guys, all I could think about was the Jackson 5. When he came out, all I could think was the Jackson 5 though. And he came out, he was really engaged with the crowd. He looked like, and I could say for all the acts, they looked like they put a lot of hard work and a lot of thought into their performance and into their show. And I appreciate that. And the fans appreciate that. So when Mario came out, he did I thought a little bit longer than usual set, but it was all worth it because his fans came to dance. They came to see him perform, and it's with no one else on stage. And you're trying to carry a concert. You're carrying your act. You're the only one. He didn't have any backup singers or backup dancers. He had his band there, but it's just basically him on stage, and he has to carry all of that. So I was proud of him. I was proud of what I saw, and also in his performance. Now, you guys, let's get to Mr. Ne-Yo. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to a young lady who was at the concert. She came from LA. She came on her own. I believe she said this was her first Ne-Yo concert. I thought she said this was her first concert, but definitely her first time seeing Ne-Yo. And she is a huge Ne-Yo fan. So if you're watching this, this is for you. She sat next to me and she had a blast. She came on her own. Her friends and family, they weren't with her. And a lot of women don't do that. So I'm really proud of her because her desire to see Ne-Yo was a whole lot stronger than having to go with someone. She really, really had a heart to go see the artist that she's been a fan of for many, many years. And so she made that trek and she decided to stay in San Diego for the duration of the week. So again, I am proud of you ladies, or you fans, not just ladies, but men too, you fans who travel to go see your favorite act. So we have that. So let's talk about Ne-Yo's act. Ne-Yo did something a little bit amazing. I thought it was amazing for me. His visual, whoever his graphic designer was, graphic artist was, I want to know who you are. I really want to know you are. Ne-Yo's, and again, this was my first Ne-Yo concert, so I'm not sure if he's actually done this before. So before he came out, he had visuals. He did a kind of like an AI of a black woman. It looked like a real black woman, but it was designed after it looks like an AI design of a black woman. And the name, which I didn't get, I tried to contact Neo's management so I can make sure that I get the acronym. Her acronym was spelled out Queen, but it meant something. So if you guys know what that Queen AI means, definitely hit me up and let me know so I can put that further down in the comments here. But definitely contact me either on Instagram or on YouTube and let me know what that acronym Queen meant, because it was ingenious. It was really, really ingenious. That does separate this concert from other concerts, because he came out, he didn't come out yet. He had the visuals, then he had his backup dancers, his 4 or 5 backup dancers come out, and then he came out, signature hat and his style. Now, again, I think Neo's whole style is smooth criminal. I think he, along with his name, as you guys know, is Mr. Schaefer. Was it Schaefer Shamir Smith? Schaefer Shamir Smith. That's Neo's birth name. And he goes by Neo. And I think a lot of times when artists adapt these other names, and they have they decide that they want to have their stage name, then they create that character, they create that person. And so Neo, his right from the beginning, especially for those of you guys who've seen him before, he's very Michael Jackson-esque, very much Michael Jackson. His whole dancing, everything about him, and that just made me kind of think. And I'm sitting there watching it, right, as I'm looking at the vans, I'm observing everything, and I'm observing him, and I was kind of thinking, like, you know, I wonder where would a lot of R&B artists, not even R&B, but a lot of artists, period, whether it's, you know, R&B pop, or you even thinking about a lot of the K-pop or J-pop stars, where would they be without Michael Jackson? Like, wow, like a lot of things came from Michael Jackson. And then, you know, in the music, in the entertainment industry, a lot of people say Michael Jackson got his style from James Brown, or he got it from Wilson Pickett. I think other dancers, maybe even a Sam Cooke, but also but Michael Jackson, he was something very, very unique. And I wonder where a lot of artists would be without him. And then that got me to thinking, but where would the Jacksons be without Joe Jackson? I don't know. So Joe Jackson was kind of necessary, because we have the Jacksons. You know, the Jacksons are the brothers, and then we have the sisters, and we have Janet, and we have Michael. So I cracked myself up because I was thinking about that. But yeah, so Neo has that whole Michael Jackson kind of persona. He's wearing his hats, he's wearing it tilted to the side. Now I want to kind of focus a little bit on his dancers. You guys, his dancers were obviously trained. They were classically trained. It seemed to me like they were classically trained, but whether they were classically trained or not, these girls worked. They worked the show. You know how I feel about backup dancers. I think that dancers are a distraction. It takes the audience away from their focus on the artist and puts it on them. I don't appreciate that very much, because I came to see the artist. I want to see every little thing about the artist. I think that sometimes that's why they have backup dancers, is because they want to be able to do other things or take a rest or whatnot, or just to give more of a show. I feel like I don't need that. I don't need you to give me more, but it was all part of the Neo show, and it fit. It fit his show, and it also fit the fans, and the fans that came out to see Neo. So you have these dancers, they're doing a phenomenal job. I mean, a phenomenal job. From the time they hit the stage to the time they exit the stage, they were in character. They did what they came to do, and I am really, really proud of them. I also tried to get the choreographer's name. He did name all the dancers. I didn't get a chance to name them, but if any of you ladies, or if you guys know who those ladies are, please let them know that they are doing a magnificent job. They are doing a phenomenal job, and we're very, 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 very blessed by their performance. So again, Neo's show was wonderful. It was great. He sang. He was on stage for quite a while. His fans loved it. They came out in full force in San Diego. Also, a part of the show, I just want to take a quick segue that the MC of the show, they as R&B artists will normally have an MC. Sometimes the DJ acts as the MC. Sometimes there's a DJ and then there's an MC. So they had an MC and someone else who was DJing in the back, but the MC basically was there in between the acts, and he was interesting. He was very, very interesting. I don't know how that fits, in shows. I don't know if I'm a fan of that or not, but he had a job to do, and he did his job, I think, to the best of his ability. I'm just not really sold on a hype man per se, or hype men or anything like that. But if that's what the show required, then again, so just be aware for you guys who are going to see his show maybe in the future, that this was his presentation of having a hype man for before and after each and every act. But my hat is off to the hype man, because the MC, he did get out in the crowd quite a bit, and that can be dangerous sometimes. And when I'm not talking about people dangerous, I mean just getting off the stage and getting on the stage. I'm thinking about the logistics of that, because again, like I said, that's a safety issue for me. However, I appreciate that. I love that connectivity with the crowd. And I also know that there was another reason why the hype man got off the stage to kind of go into the audience. But let's go back to Neo's show and the dancers. And for the overall show was not a 21 and under show at all. I want you guys to be aware of that. It was a strictly 21 and over show. I even kind of think it was a 25 or 30 over show. This was an adult show. This was not a show that you want to take your young children with, or, people who are sensitive. I felt at some point in times in the show very, it got a little bit sexual and a little bit raunchy, but that was the act. And it got me also to thinking, like, for the R&B artists that have gone before Neo, and R&B artists going way back, like a Rick James. I'm pretty sure Rick James' performance was, and I went to a Rick James show when I was a kid. I don't know why my parents did that. I think a Rick James show definitely not for kids. It was an adult type of entertainment. And even going all the way back to a Teddy Pendergrass. Just think, like, after Teddy Pendergrass went solo from Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, his whole thing was being very sexual. It was his songs, his way of his presence on stage. It's the famous, thing about throwing your panties up on the stage to a Teddy Pendergrass show, that kind of thing. So I'm just thinking about the artist that's been there before Neo. So I'm not too hard on the sexuality of his show. And then you got to go even a little further back from a Teddy Pendergrass. You go into a Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye, his stuff was all about sexual healing. So you have this kind of history and this kind of legacy in the R&B realm, and I just have an issue maybe with being a little bit desensitized to how much sexuality we're going to put in our shows or in our music and things like that. So I've been to a Keith Sweat concert as well, and his is along the lines, because his songs are sexual, are very sexual. So this show was a lot of behind. It was a lot of booty, lots and lots and lots. Even though the dancers you could tell that the dancers worked hard. You can tell that they gave their all for this concert. It was just a lot of butt. It was a lot of behind out. With Pleasure P, he has some visuals in his background too. A lot of sexuality, a lot of sexuality. For this type of show, when you're dealing with most of your audience are women or couples, it was definitely mostly women and couples. Having all that female sexuality was, I don't know how, I couldn't find the really right words. And even doing this video right now, I can't really find the right words for it. I'm just not completely sold on it, and I'm not completely comfortable with it. Had they had a man or men, also dancers, who was playing to the female crowd with that same type of sexuality, maybe it would have been a little bit more even Steven. But if you were a couple and you were at that show and you were a man, I just see that it was very intimidating for women. It was very intimidating because these dancers, they work hard, so their bodies are going to be that very curvature. You're going to see a lot of, they're stacked. Y'all, they were stacked, right? And so if you're somebody who's not, it just seemed it could be a little bit intimidating for the women that were there, especially the dancers were not for the women. You know, the dancers are supposed to be complimenting Ne-Yo, and the dancers are also supposed to be for men. They were not for women. And so what you had, because the dancers were as sexual, even though they were talented, as sexual as they were, you had women in the crowd who were trying to compete with these dancers. So when I say that there was booty all over this concert, you guys, I mean that there was booty all over this concert. I mean, everybody is jiggling. Didn't matter what your culture was. Didn't matter what your background was, social economic background, cultural background, a lot of melanin, a little bit of melanin, non-melanin, didn't matter. Everybody was booty shaking all over this concert. So again, as I want to warn you guys that this is what you're going to get. Again, I say that Ne-Yo did come out. He gave a stellar performance. He danced. He actually reminded me a little bit of Rod Stewart's concert, with the class and the flash, and having the ladies being sexual, and it's all a part of the show, right? Except for Rod Stewart didn't dance because he's like almost 80 years old, so he doesn't dance. But Ne-Yo is still dancing because he's still a young buck. So again, I say for the fans, and there were tons and tons of Ne-Yo fans out there. Actually, I didn't realize how much work Ne-Yo has done, how many songs he's sang or put out there, how many albums he's done over the years, how many things he's written for other people. And they did make a show of saying, or they did make a point of saying how many things he's written for other artists. And in this business, it's not easy to, especially if you come out as you come out as a writer. Well, he didn't come out as a writer. He was in a group, and then he started writing. I believe for Def Jam, he started writing, and then he did his own solo thing. So it's not easy to have a longevity in that. But the secret is, for all you artists out there, budgeting artists out there, the secret is writing. The secret is make sure that you also have your own work out there, and that you are writing for other artists as well as yourself. So that's a tip. Being a non-singer, that's what it looks like is the secret to longevity in this business. So there you guys have it. We have the Champagne and Roses tour. I did forget to say that part of the Champagne and Roses theme, they gave out roses. Pleasure P gave out roses to the audience. Mario gave out roses. Actually, at the end, Pleasure P, I don't know if somebody was in his ear saying, hey, nigga, get off stage, because at the end, he just kind of threw the roses, like at the crowd. He was giving them out, and then all of a sudden, he just tossed them. So I don't know if somebody was in his ear saying, hey, you got to get off stage. It's time for you to go. But that was that thing. And then Mario, he tried to give out roses as much as possible, which I thought was classy. It added, whoever the director or the writer of this concert, that little touch was really, really nice. I like to see that. And Ne-Yo, they gave out, Pleasure P and Mario gave out red roses, and Ne-Yo gave out, it looks like almost 3 to 4 dozen of, looks like pink roses. They were really beautiful. So the people that paid for the tickets in the front, you guys got a treat. You guys really, really, really did get a treat. I will talk just really, really quickly about the dance contest that Ne-Yo had. Ne-Yo had a dance contest. You guys, the hype man, the MC, he was out of the audience for a reason, because he was choosing girls to get on stage, okay? And so I kind of think one of them may have been a plant. I don't know, but he chose 3 women, right? 3 women to get on stage, and I had to do a dance contest, and their purpose was to dance with Ne-Yo, right? So they did the whole back it up kind of dance with Neo, and he did the whole doggy style thing to them. And it was very, very funny, and it was a great addition to the show. It included the audience to the show, and Neo's connectivity to the audience is an A+ with that. And there was one of the contestants, she had, I want to say, as far as butt, gluteus maximus, she could have given out a whole neighborhood of gluteus maximus. She has so much and I think she was from the Philippines. She had a ton of back there. And it was funny because she did win the contest, you guys. She won the contest. The audience was really, really kind and gracious. And Neo, his whole theme was, as a man, can I handle all of this, right? So that's what he was portraying. He was, you don't have to use one of them. He was like, as a man, can I handle all of this, you know? And so at the end, the ladies go off stage and Neo goes, contestant number 3, I'm pregnant and I'm keeping a baby. So that was really, really funny. That was, again, it was a great show. I actually really, really enjoyed the show. And the fans, they seemed like they were, and I can also say that there were fans who sung every single Neo song. Every single song. I'm watching behind me, I'm looking, and they're singing every single song. They were singing every single Pleasure P song, which I thought was, wow, that's great. I heard a lot of people singing his songs and Mario's songs. So again, that's what the fans are doing. So there you have it. You have your review with Neo's Champagne and Roses tour. Now here in the show, as you guys may know, is when we do our 7 degrees of Depeche Mode. And this is where we connect the artists that I'm reviewing to Depeche Mode in seven steps. At least we try to do it in 7 steps. So now we're going to do 7 degrees of Depeche Mode with Neo and Depeche Mode. So here we go. 7 degrees of Depeche Mode with Neo and Depeche Mode. Neo, as a lot of you guys know, that he's an artist. He's a singer, he's a dancer, he's a writer, he's an entertainer. But a lot of us forget that Neo, Mr. Schaefer Shamir Smith, has an IMBD. Yes, Neo also is an actor. And one of the films that Neo, all you Neo fans would know, one of the films that Neo was in is called Red Tails. Red Tails, it was another film that was showing another rendition or another telling of the Tuskegee Airmen. And it had a star-studded cast. It had people in there like Cuba Gooding Jr., Terrence Howard. So Neo was a part of that cast. Well, Red Tails was produced by Lucasfilms. A lot of people don't know that, but Lucasfilms produced Red Tails. And if I'm not mistaken, that was the last film that Lucasfilms produced before they sold off to Disney. Okay, so when they sold off to Disney, of course, Disney was compiling all of George Lucas's things because they were getting ready for Disney Plus. And the first TV show that was their big launch, their original TV show on Disney Plus, was a show called The Mandalorian. Okay, George Lucas had been working on a bunch of Star Wars shows, so he gave that over to Disney when he sold. And so here we have The Mandalorian. Well, in The Mandalorian, it had the star Mr. Pedro Pascal. Hopefully, Pedro, I'm saying that right. Pedro Pascal. And Pedro Pascal, he's been around for a little bit, but he got his big breakout was in this little TV show called Game of Thrones, right? But anyway, so Pedro Pascal was in The Mandalorian, and The Mandalorian was great. It was a completely awesome show. But Pedro Pascal also starred in another TV show, actually with one of his Game of Thrones co-stars. They played father and daughter, and the name of that TV show was called The Last of Us. Okay, and so what all devotees know lately is, of course, in The Last of Us, the season 1, one of their theme song, not one of them, but their theme song in The Last of Us was Never Let Me Down Again by Depeche Mode. Okay, so you guys, there you have it. There's your 7 degrees of Depeche Mode, connecting Neo to Depeche Mode. So you have Neo, who's an actor who was in Red Tails. Red Tails was produced by Lucasfilms. Lucasfilm sold out to Disney, and he also gave them The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian starred Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal was in The Last of Us, And the theme song of season 1 of The Last of Us was Never Let Me Down Again by Depeche Mode. So, okay, you guys, thank you again. Thank you so much for coming along with me during these concert reviews. I have a blast. I hope you guys are having a great time when I do these reviews. Again, if there's anything or a show or upcoming concert that you would like for me to go to and you would like for me to review, definitely hit me up on Instagram, or you can hit me up on YouTube, LinkedIn, any social media platform. You can find Monique at Melanin Monarchy. As I say, if you find value in this, definitely like this video. Also, subscribe to it. I love all you guys that's been telling me that you're subscribing. I love that. I thank you so much. Subscribe to it, like it, share it, and also follow me on Instagram, so that way you can get the news when I have a new when I've uploaded a new video and a new concert, and you'll also get all the old ones. So if you like this concert review, check out the concert reviews that I've done in the past. One of the R&B concerts I've done was Patti LaBelle and also Gladys Knight. So definitely check out some of the other concert reviews that I have on there. You're going to find some interesting things. And this is all about inspiring you to go see your favorite artists. This is why we do these commentaries, is to inspire you to go out there and see your favorite artists. We got a huge lineup. Even though the weather is getting a little crisp, a little chilly, we still have a lot of shows that we need to see by the end of 2023. A lot of shows. So definitely look out for that. And again, I want to say thank you. Have a good week.